own little area. So we were a distance away from the stage. Baba had not come in as yet. His seat was on the dais. And after some time, Baba walked in with Adi and Dr. Bharucha on either side, holding him on either side. And I think there were over 10,000 people in unison shouted, "Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai." And my hair stood on edge. It was, you could feel his love, his radiating in every heart, and everyone was crying. Everyone had tears in their eyes. And then there was a little lull, and Charles, I'm about to reflect on the story you mentioned earlier about how Baba knows everyone's heart. So as I was sitting there, I thought to myself, I met Baba 9 years back. I was a young boy. Will he remember me? Will he know that this is Naushirwan? And at that moment, as I was thinking, Erich came on the microphone and said, "Would Naushirwan come on the stage?" And I for a moment wondered, am I hearing it correctly? Does Baba want me on the stage? So I go on the stage and I'm sitting at his feet. First I embraced him, I kissed him on both the cheeks, I bowed down at his feet, and then he said, I had come with a certain degree of baggage with me, in the sense, with studies. So he says, "How are your studies going?" And I said, "Baba, I'm doing well in my studies except maths. I'm very poor in maths." I still am. So Baba said, "Just don't worry. I was also very poor in maths." And that kind of made me feel good at that moment. But I want to add to that story a little bit more. So we were all seated on the stage. I was seated at Baba's feet. And when you sit at Baba's feet, you just stare at him all the time. And you just see what's going on. So Baba, at that moment, he turns his attention to a lady sitting in the corner and tells Erich to go and call her. She was a lady from Dehradun. Her name was Mona Sakre. And this lady had been in and out of the hospital, doctor's offices, and so forth. So Erich goes to her and says, "Baba wants to see you." And she turns her face. She doesn't want to come near Baba. So Erich says, he tells her, goes again and tells her, "Baba wants to see you." So very hesitantly, reluctantly, she comes to Baba. Baba embraces her and she bursts out crying. And she says, and Baba says, I know how much you suffer." He takes out his handkerchief, gives it to her, and she says, "There are very few people, very few lovers who I give a minuscule amount of suffering. And that is, I've given you a minuscule amount of suffering. Do you know how much I suffer? And can't you sustain this suffering for me?" And she cried more and more. But then you could feel, and I was sitting right there looking at this whole scenario of Baba and Mona Sakre. She was from Dehradun, I'm from Dehradun, and I knew her well. And she was always a very sick person. So that was my memory of course, I had several memories of the East-West gathering, but this was something that stayed with me, particularly. And again, when Charles was talking about kissing Baba, you had that feeling. You normally don't associate the feeling of sweetness with a man. But when you kiss his cheeks, when you embrace him, there's a feeling that you're kissing a woman. It's very delicate, gentle, and he kisses you back. There is a tremendous feeling of love that in a large gathering, you can feel waves and waves of love that he releases. So I want to mention a little bit about what I do now. We run Beloved Archives in Hamilton, New Jersey, which is an archive. And we publish books. It's a 2,200 square feet of space. And at the moment, we are doing what is known as rehousing. So we have about 200,000 documents, many of them original photographs and so forth, which have all been digitized, but they were not rehoused. So now we've started this huge campaign of rehousing all these documents. In 2021, I published a book called Meher Baba From Boyhood to Godhood, which went into 3 editions, and now we're converting that because we printed hundreds of them. We are now converting it into an e-book. And at the moment, I'm working on a book, which is a fairly large book, but over 600 pages, with about 200 photographs. It's called Living the Awakened Life with Meher Baba, and that's 50 years of the glow. So that's taking up most of my time. One of the highlights of Beloved Archives is, which is an exclusive, I would say, in the West, is the Meher Baba Museum. We have the Meher Baba Museum set up at Beloved Archives, which we did in collaboration with the Princeton Arts Museum. So we were at a stage where we didn't have a lot of funds to buy display cases and so forth. So on a lark, I wrote to them, and they said, sure, we'll be happy to give you, I wrote to them whether I could buy any of the old display cases they had. And they said, oh, no, we cannot charge you. We can only donate them to you. So they donated 5 display cases, and we added another couple of them. So today we have a whole museum. So I would like to invite each one of you to visit Beloved Archives. We have whole events from time to time. We send out invites. We also, this is the 57th year of Glow International. So we found, as the months went by or the years went by, we found that our subscription of $60 was a little difficult for a lot of people to afford. So about a year back, we launched a digital Glow International for $30 for 2 years. So I'd like all of you to subscribe to the publication, and all you need to do is go to our website, belovedarchives.org, and you'll see all the details. You can sign up, or you can give me a call, and my telephone number is there, and subscribe. But more than anything else, I would like all of you to visit Beloved Archives. It has full, free, unfettered access of all castes, creeds, and color. Anyone can walk in anytime, ask to see Meher Baba material. It's the only archive in the world that has unfettered access. And we are very happy to welcome all of you. Jai Meher Baba.
Thank you, Nashwan. Except I'm going to call you to task a little bit here.
Yes, sir.
So I just turned 61 years old, and I'm getting a little long in the tooth. And I don't know how long Baba's going to keep me around. So you came here and you spoke a while back about a book about Baba and Gandhi. I'm expecting that book before I go to Baba.
I'll give you an answer to that. Well, I've spent many, many years collecting material on Baba and Gandhi. I went to London to collect material. I went to Delhi to collect material. So I have an enormous amount of material. But I felt that this book, which I'm doing now, 50 Years of the Glow, I should do first. And possibly, if I'm still alive, hopefully, I will follow it up with a book on Meher Baba and Gandhi. Although I've taken a part of that book and I'm putting it in 50 Years of the Glow. But there's a lot of material that we have. Fortunately, how I started on collecting material about Meher Baba and Gandhi was that I spent, soon after Baba dropped his body, I went to live in Meherzad. And one day, just before I was about to leave Meherzad, in those days there was no electricity, so I would sit at night on a hurricane lamp, and Irish would leave piles of files on the table for me to copy. And then I would go during the day to Adi's office and tape record stuff on the recorder. So Irish came and dropped a file on my table and said, go through this file, copy it, but I want it first thing in the morning. What do I see? And this has not been recorded. I don't think it's recorded anywhere, even in Lord Meher. But this file contained the transcript of conversation between Baba and Gandhi, signed by both of them. I don't know where this file is. It should be somewhere in the trust, but it has never been mentioned anywhere that it was signed by Baba and Gandhi as the most authentic account. So I have that authentic account without their signatures.
Well, let's compromise then. I'll accept a digital copy. If you can't get the printed book out, I'll accept a digital copy.
It will be out probably.
Okay. I can't argue that one. Thank you.
As Beverly would say, by his grace.
By his grace. With that, let me reintroduce Charles Haynes, and we're going to do